Yo guys, welcome to the stream. This is a part of the $200 to 100k challenge, and I will be showing you here again the Forex compound calculator, showing that if we have like a 200 starting balance and we have periods of, let's say, 50 trades, each time we aim for a 15% trade, like an average. Let's hope we go higher. We might also actually go lower, but it doesn't matter as long as you try to have a realistic return. See here, it should be realistic within 50 trades to get 100k, even though we kind of missed this a little bit. So where are we now? I actually need to update my trading path here. Let's see if it does it properly. Like I have my node here, so you can't see it, it's okay. But if you knew, that's just what we're doing now. We're trying to get disciplined again. It has been half a year since I was trading last time, and we hit some very sick trades, but I was getting a little bit too risk seeking on my trades. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to get back into lower time trades and more consistent profits, hopefully. Last time was a very slow trading session. This time I might try to get a little bit more daring with it. We hit like 4 good trades last session. I kind of missed a lot of great entries because I was using too much time tracking, analyzing. So this is a journey, and the whole point is for me to make mistakes and grow. With you guys, without you guys, you can just watch and learn. Or if you have an idea for like if you want to see a certain coin traded, I'm not gonna go total, ballistic on meme coins. I actually want to trade high coins, top coins, because right now I'm on Bitcoin. I'm just starting on Bitcoin. That's what I'm doing right now. But to be honest, you can just increase the leverage. Like, if you really want to have a higher volatile trade, you can just increase the leverage. As simple as that. Let me just real quick here copy my link, my trading link. One thing you should know here, is that I have this Bitcoin trading competition, and it is actually important for you guys to know if you want to join in, because I have a $5,000 prize pool only for you guys that you can just join in, sign up with my referral code here, and you have the possibility of snatching one of these 5k. Let's see if we can actually see the leaderboard right now. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's just that's weird. Like, we should be, oh yeah, of course, that's fine. Here we have 23 days left, and it has been a slow start. We got a little bit of trading volume going in here, and as you can see, we have only 3 contesters on the top right now. One is actually not providing any kind of volume yet, and it is not really updated on the return on investment, but volume wise, the 70% of the prize pool is going to be given away, and the last 30% is going to be for, return on investment, as you can see here, meaning that depending on the total volume, you have $5,000 being shared. You can read more in here. You have the link in the chat now. And it might sound crazy going from $200 to $100,000, but it's the power of compounding. Someone call it someone is doing this shit on blackjack. That is just not how I want to do it, because if we can analyze the market and use our indicators and our trading knowledge of the crypto market on the macro financials, if we can do that, we can actually increase our success rate, because it's 50-50 on blackjack, but like that's bad odds because it also 50% risk of losing. And even getting a bad entry on a trade, like trading on a 5 minute time frame, seeing like it's going up, it might go down soon, so you decide to short the market, you could just completely miss it. But depending on how you're trading, even a bad entry you can turn around, either by having a stop loss and then getting out of that trade, or you could actually just having a higher time frame, lowering your leverage, and be like, I think based on the daily chart that we're getting a little bit of exhaustion, but on the weekly we're bottomed out, on the 4 hourly we bottomed out. So today we might have overboughtness right now from this move, but on all other time frames it looks like we need a pump soon. So you could depend on what is your time frame. And looking at the hourly here, because of that last move we had, it looks like this we have some speed on the buy by pressure. I kind of like this one right here, but I need to be sure that I'm on the right. Yeah, I'm on the Binance chart looking for liquidations here, because these triggers, liquidations triggers, it's usually a very good indicator in my opinion. This is on the 4 hourly. Let's look at the 30 minutes right here. Binance is the one at like top exchange, and watching for liquidations is a good sign. If it matches the stochastic RSI, if it matches the speed in the market, if people are getting liquidated, like here, we have a sharp rise upwards, and there's a whole lot of liquidations happening. And we're also topping out RSI wise. Looking at, like I mapped it out here, we had this indecision doji I told you guys about on my Twitter, and I don't think I actually made videos for TikTok and Instagram and YouTube yet, but an indecision doji, long leg doji, indecision candle, whatever we want to call it, is basically just a candle with no real body and a whole long legs, like longer legs than I have, and I'm tall and I have dumb long legs for some reason. But watch this. I mapped out the top and the bottom of it, and I expect us to range in this area. And depending on where we cross and close on the weekly, we could have our next sharp momentum. If we're looking for previous long leg dojis, you can see here indecision candles, 2 indecision candles back to back, just like here, same setup. This came from from a pump into a bottom formation, and then we kind of rose again. These 2 candles again, same type of setup, but it's led to a much bigger dump. And here, 1 indecision candle, and again a huge move. This was kind of the exception of the rule, because we did have strong moves, but it wasn't anything particularly significant or one-sided. But again here, look at this. When you have these weekly indecision candles, these long leg dojis, it tends to lead to a big movement. So that's why I expect us to have a strong move here. And weekly close around 94.5k, or a weekly close below 84.3k ish, could decide that next big move. In my opinion though, we're looking at the Bitcoin chart, right? I know the altcoins are bleeding heavily, and nothing of this is financial, right? I have to make this disclaimer. It is just my personal trades. I don't encourage you to do anything, but I just want to show how I read the market, how I trade, how I do whatever I do. But look at this. If we take M2 money supply, we can see, let's change the settings a little bit. 12 weeks, we have the biggest economies basically printing liquidity. That is bullish for the markets, but for some reason here around September, October, M2 decoupled from crypto. And a lot of people don't know this because they're like, oh, M2 doesn't work, but it does. There's an explanation to it. We take Japan, UK, Canada we can include, Australia as well. It's not the biggest change, but then in India as well. And for some reason, we have a very direct, because we don't need a 12-week offset. We just take 0 weeks. I'm gonna be sure that I don't miss this next move here, because the whole point of this was just getting into trades. Maybe losing a little bit doesn't matter, but we have a much more immediate reaction in the market. And as you can see, since October, it has been very accurate. Like this exact same time that the major M2 decoupled, the minor M2 just started being extremely precise. We can even go into the 1 day here, and you see with even more confidence than that, since October, since October here, we can even kind of, I think we can even skew it a little bit here. Like when we're looking on the daily, you can't, it's not one-to-one, like they print money, it's directly into crypto, but these movements here, yes, you know, it's scarily accurate. Even on the daily, it's scary accurate. And you can see here that even on the daily right now, taking all these into consideration, M2 is rising again. That is why, one of the reasons why I expect us to break out to the top side instead of the downside. Anything is possible, but if you take just this into consideration, and we also look at the moving averages, we are kind of regaining strength, getting back towards these moving averages. Let's just look here historically, because once we start trading below moving averages, breaking down, it is very bearish. Like we did this in January, and people are all like, look, it's a bear market. No, it's a bear run. The start of this year was a bear run. We traded below the moving averages, and once we regained that strength, closing above it, getting that support, we had an insane run, like mad. In this duration of time, 68% Bitcoin increase. And you can see here as well, it wasn't as directly impacted. We can see here that this is lesser M2s as well, but it still led the market. Even here, you had the possibility to react to the lower economies printing liquidity before the market move happened. So let's hope that this is this exact same play out here, saying that we are still ranging with these dumps, and then it looks like we're gonna have a sharp move, getting rate cuts, QT ending, and overall, like with the crypto market, this is just Bitcoin, I know, but like almost 40% dump from the top. That's a whole lot. That is a bear run. And people are talking about the bear market is starting now. I just don't get that. That just made no sense to me that it is starting after a 40% dump. It's more realistic, in my opinion, that what we are seeing right now is just a standard bull market correction, because it is still a higher low, and we are making higher lows. We're also making higher highs. So if we just make a rough estimate like this, we have these supports that we are hitting. We didn't completely go back to this support level back in March. People were expecting like 60K, 65K Bitcoin, but at that time we had M2. And even at that time we had these other economies kind of showing us. Let's take the weekly, it's much more accurate. We had these economies showing us, what the fuck am I talking about? Like M2 showing us with a 12-week offset that we were bottoming out. So when people got scared talking about some insane dumps in the market, and I was talking about this back in February, March, that here you can see we had a fake out and we started dumping all of this tariff madness, and people kept saying, we're gonna crash. This is it. It's over. Fear was incredibly high in the market. And I was just one of the few guys talking about, nah, I'm not gonna believe that, because M2 is on an insane. We can see this 12 weeks prior to. So this move here, this bottom area here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. You could see it here. Back in January, you could see it. So this setting, I actually had it to 10 weeks back at the time, back in that time. So it was maybe a little bit more askewed. So I saw it happening around 24th of March. At the time, I thought the move would happen March 24th, but like with this big ass candle, I was getting confidence and I was starting to DCA back in, telling everyone that I can see into the future. That was my opinion, right? And I can see it's gonna happen. So why wouldn't I DCA if I'm this bullish? If every of my TA, everything that makes sense to me, that we are still in a bull run, we just crashed completely like 30%, why wouldn't I DCA in? If I'm bullish, why wouldn't I act on it? Yeah. Also, when we hit the bottom of a Bollinger Band, it usually gives you a move, right? It doesn't have to be an incredible move, but what are we hitting right now? We're just freaking stretching this Bollinger Band like crazy. Several weeks we have been disproportionately oversold, completely hitting this uptrend support, and of course we crashed completely. Funny enough, we find some support and we start ranging. We have the indecision leg here, and within this we have been just this whole week we have been ranging perfectly within that leg. That wick, the fuck that I'm talking about, that doji candle, whatever you want to call it. As you can see, we have been touching resistance, resetting, touching resistance, resetting, and we are following this median of the Bollinger Band very, very tightly. But what is also happening from this candle, we might even be able to hit this one as well, right? I know it's not really important, but nah. Does it make sense? I don't even want to change if it doesn't make sense. No, fuck it. Like, we are bouncing on an uptrend, like a daily uptrend. And even though we are finding correction, exhaustion, sell pressure, buy pressure, especially on news like rate cuts, we're going to have some flushes in the market. As you can see, we have a lot of liquidations. Even though this is happening, we're still trending upwards. And some people are talking about, oh my God, Bitcoin just dropped like 3%. Yeah, 5% even. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, because from Monday, if you take the low point here, and you're never gonna hit the low. So let's just start from here. We're still up 5%, more than 5%. So yeah, let's zoom in again, because I can see that we're starting to drop a little bit in our buy pressure here. So it would be funny looking for a short. Also, we are kind of closing in on the higher ranges of the Bollinger Band. That's what I love about, personally love about Bitfinex. You have all of these technical, these indicators you can put on, like stochastic RSI. And if I were trading like several coins, I was doing that this summer. I had always had like Turbo, Ondo, ADA, Solana, Ethereum. I think I also always had those coins on to kind of see if some of them were outperforming or underperforming the market. What you could do is like just have 4 tabs. I'm on a very small screen here. I'm not at home, but you could, if you have a big trading setup, you could just have up to, and design it however you want, but up to 16 tabs open, different trading, tabs, different coins with different indicators, whatever you want. I really love that. Also, you can just open a position and drag your stop losses, your take profits directly on here. I think it's super simple. Like, I really enjoy that. This is the main reason I'm using Bitfinex. I know, to be fair and to be completely transparent, if you like trading, lower cap meme coins, there are other exchanges that is better for that. But in my opinion, I just increase my leverage if I want to trade a more volatile trade. If everything right now, especially everything is really following Bitcoin. We had this outlier though, that Luna has been you know, for some reason, just completely sending. Mad. It's mad. I had someone in our trading community on Telegram. You can see all my communities in my link in bio. I have the Discord, the Telegram. I'm just starting to grow the Discord, but all the campaigns I run, all the competitions I run, etc., it will be happening in Discord. Of course, also on Telegram, but it's just easier for me to manage it in Discord with bots, etc. But I had someone in my community starting trading this, like doing 1,000% returns with his leverage, even though his leverage wasn't crazy. I have no idea how he kind of got those entries. It was beautiful entries, like really congratulations to him. And he was talking about, he keeps saying, I love it, Luna $1 before a month or so. Like, if he gets that shit right and if he still has his open long, from here, he's still gonna make like I think he has a 20x leverage on it. That's 80x. That's mad. Like, I hope he hits it. I hope he keeps hitting on it, but we never know. It is bullish though that it is already performing, getting attention, getting traction. Fuck that shit. I'm gonna try and see if I can find an entry here. I said and I promised this time I was gonna be entering trades faster. Last time I was getting good trades, but I was streaming for 3 hours. And let's just look for confirmation on the ultra short moves, because it does look like we're keeping some good momentum here, like this last hour or so, 2 hours. Damn, I should. Yeah. Problem is, I was seeing before I was starting going live today, I was watching this range here, getting a little volatile, and I contemplated if I should skip my trading session because I wanted to long, but I just couldn't really find my entry, and I went to have some dinner. You can see the time here is different than your time, so most likely, but it doesn't really matter. Let me see here. Yeah. It looks like on the half hourly, stochastic is kind of topping out. 1 hourly with topping out. 5 minutes with slow descent. It could look like we should short it. I promised you guys that we are gonna just act on it. On the trading, challenge, we just ended on $400, so that's our next open. No, we started with 250. That's completely bullshit. So we have like a $430 that we're trying to open this trade. So let's hope. Maybe if we're just gonna enter trades a little more aggressively, we should change the leverage to 25x at least, and then go shorted. With a market price isolated, $400, or what did I say, 430? 430, yeah, we're on 430 right now. So we're gonna take this trade and we're gonna short it. That is what I'm talking about. Like, we can just immediately drag a stop loss, or we could just drag a take profit line. For example, saying that I would be satisfied with, because the median of the Bollinger Band here is maybe, especially if I'm actually bullish, it might be a resistance point, sorry, a support line. I'm just gonna take a quick, if I can get that. But we are seeing it move to the upside. The thing about stochastic RSI is just speed. It doesn't really show anything else than speed. And see here, let's make sure I'm on the same time frame. Boom. See here. So even though it suggests speed or indicates speed, it doesn't necessarily decide direction, because as you can see here, speed is dying, stalling in the median here, and it could, to many people, be an indicator that around 15 to like 15:30 to 16:30, that hour here, it would have been a stall. But in reality, it was a, you can see a change here. So when you zoom out, you get a better idea of how it's actually looking. And on the 2 hourly, it looks like we're gonna go up. And I still think that we are gonna go up. But on the 4 hourly, it looks like on larger time frames that it's playing out. That's why I was hoping that we could get kind of this exhaustion. But now it looks like it's slowly regaining a change of direction here. As you can see here, if you actually do this, it looks like it has this move that it wants to go back up again. On the 30 minutes, it is stalling a little bit. The 1 hourly looked like it had reached its top curve. That's what I made mistakes by last time, was that I was waiting a little bit too long for the entry. So what I would have done this time, and I might do this next time again, especially if I get confirmation now that this was a bad entry, is that I would wait for the lower time frames to get a more clear topping and breaking down, and then waiting, not getting the best top, but just waiting for it to confirm its downtrend. Maybe I should just close this position or wait for retrace, because I'm losing on this one right now. But that's usually what I'm kind of gonna do. And if I get completely wrecked, on my trade, what I'm gonna do, holy shit, it's actually moving. Yeah. Just decided, to screw me on this one. If I get wrecked on this position, I will start a new one and then keep doing this challenge, because, as I said, it's more than half a year since I was trading last time. And the only thing I'm trying to do right now, I don't like that the 2 hourly just started, a change of direction. It can be like here, where you see that's a big bounce, right? I don't like that one. But it can be a range here where it's just pumping and dumping, and if that's the truth, hopefully we could also have a counter movement from our entry point that is gonna be a full percent to the downside. But this is, however, a fairly large move, to the upside, considering how we just dumped. But again, if you look at the 2 hourly, we're sitting in the low range of the Bollinger Band. And I should maybe have respected that a little bit more. You can see my last trades here, the last few days here. The problem about that one was that I was trading, centerpiece on the high time frame. And I don't really like that, because even though we were just bouncing on the top range of the Bollinger Band, as you can see here, we never really reached that, completely oversoldness. And we did one time here yesterday, what day was the 9th? Like, it's 2 days ago, right? Yeah, Tuesday. We did reach overbought, but that was not a trading day for me. Now we're, like, it did have a small bounce, but the candle is closing in 6 minutes, and it can move. I don't know if you can actually see it right now, but maybe you can see it on the 5 minute, that depending on how it moves here, it can just, the end of it, if you can kill the snake's head here, right? It can go up and down and kind of wiggle until it closes. So this move here is a strong move upwards. So that's bad for my position. But it is only the 5 minute one. On the 1 minute here, you can see that it is still actually. How long has it been since I opened this one, man? What the because I did open it right around here, right? Yeah. perfect, like exactly when you open it, it's just straight up the wrong way. But seeing this, that after my open, we had a very strong move to the upside. We could now have a strong move, and let's hope we just bottom out here, and that we also can reach an actual oversold position where we maybe just go back and touch a base here. But to be honest, I think I'm gonna get wrecked on this one. Like, I should maybe set a stop loss around here. That's again here, like at the middle of the night. Great entry, crossing out of the Bollinger Band, having a very oversold position, and 2 hour time frame, 4 hour time frame, like these are good in my opinion, good time frames to trade on, even for confirmation on the lower ones. Because if you look like back at the 5 minutes this night, let's see here if there was a clear change of direction. Wasn't it 3 o'clock this morning? Here, you can see even on the lower time frame, it was just kissing the bottom end of the Bollinger Band for a whole hour. And maybe even if you look at, if you look at this here, you can see the liquidation amounts were starting to kind of increase. We had no clear strong signal before we hit this one actually, but it's also flashing very nicely. My biggest concern right now, to be honest, is that we don't have any, we don't really have any strong signals as to short it. And I did enter a short. I thought I could hit a really good snipe, and it was basically also because last time I was trading, I was just entering bad trades, you know, not bad trade, good trades, but long ass setups. That's why I promise you, if I put a stop loss like here, that's a 10%. It's so annoying to lose that trade here. But nevertheless, I think I'm actually gonna put it here. And the reason I do this is, if we go higher than this whole day, most likely we're just gonna, you know, I don't know how high we're gonna go, but we have had a lot of resistance in this area, and we're breaking out of it right now. And I don't want to be a complete degenerate, right? You can see it has picked up speed, and it is in the overbought area on the 15, on the 30, and yeah, boop, closed it. And I wouldn't be surprised right now if it actually starts, you know, dipping, because for some reason these, you know, you can see this actually moving. Might just look at gonna wait for some kind of touch there if I can. You can see the 2 hourly here, it is just straight up sending. It was also kind of a bad move for me to get in here, but that's all a part of it, you know, living and learning here. We are starting to pick up a little bit of a kind of liquidation alert here. Let's just see here. I'm just gonna be completely degenerate and just watch your guru. See if there's anything pressing happening, you know. I always say that the news is just manipulation, and I do truly believe that. But if there is anything, taxes on gambling, wait, what the fuck is going on in the US? US trade deficit falls to the lowest since, yeah, nothing really kind of breaking going on right now. And I didn't even think that there was. Imagine opening a long at that point. That would have been a very sexy move. But as you can see here, it's closed-ended leg. It's a strong one, but it is where I want to short the shit out of this one, because you can see it will always retrace. We are not getting, you know, closed candles that often, and this type of setup, this is increasing. Oh my god, like, you can't even see it like on the screen. That's actually freaking annoying. I'm just watching here and I have my screen completely cropped. Can you see it here? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But let's have it like this. You can see the top of these liquidation alerts here, but having it build up like this on the 30-minute frame, it could suggest a move. My biggest problem is just the 2 hourly. Like, it's just way off, in my opinion. Way off from the setup. It's just starting to move. Of course it is. Zooming out, I'm actually also seeing that we are hitting this the support zone that I drew. That is that's the danger of looking at of kind of looking at one screen on Bitfinex and not doing my TA on both, only because I like that indicator and I'm kind of tracking it for some more aggressive entries. But we did just hit a strong resistance bounce. We do have a support bounce and resistance around the Bollinger level. The 2 hourly looks like it is starting to set up a path. 4 hourly is as well, and this every major time frame is just telling us that it is go time. The daily suggesting that we are overbought. We're even trading above here. That's why this is a bad range. It is a bad range. I just wanted to get online, make a trade. I don't give a shit if it goes down. I just wanted to kind of get on here, and because in the end, like, 30 minutes is actually getting very, very overbought. And you can see here that, oh, and you can see the pop-up. The when that happens down here in the left right corner, that is the trading challenge. You can see the requirements and the payouts and the whatever I have going on. So yeah, it does look like we have some liquidation risks. We don't have any confirmation per se. The 1 hourly, it bounced high. Is my short entry here? Is it? I don't like shorting because I'm bullish, but we did have a very strong candle forming out here on the 5 minute, which indicate that we might have a counter move happening soon. Like, I should have just shorted that. I'm gonna take, like, I just lost 500s, 400s. I have a 400 short that I might want to open now. It does look like we could have a stall from this big leg happening. I'm gonna put it on here and just say fuck it, we ball, and then I hope that this move is sustained substantially. Like, what I usually do is when I kind of hit a trade that I like and I'm at a comfortable take profit level, like if we went all the way down here, I would maybe trail my stop loss. Yeah, I will start doing this, like taking it down here. But right now I'm gonna say I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be a dumb move. Sorry, I'm not gonna pick my nose here on stream. It's just itchy. That's annoying. Like, that's mad annoying. And we're just ranging here, because you can see here the confirmation is like no confirmation, but the setup is starting to look a little bit good, because we're breaking down on the 15 minute. The 30 minute Stochastic RSI is also looking like it wants to break down. The 1 hourly could be topping out. On the 1 minute, we are having, you know, a strong move down. And as you can see here, this can just range for a long time. What about the 5 minute? Like, we have been ranging so high for quite a while. It's not like that often we have this range. It's not really telling me anything, but it could be a sign that we have been overbought for quite a while. The bulls try to control the market semi-successfully. Because of that, we have been pushing higher and higher and higher, but inevitably, nope. I think inevitably we're gonna have a correction. This could just be the correction. Like, we could have that little mini correction. It's just that even though we are moving higher, I just don't see us having those movements. You can see here, but it's not like that big a leg as we just had. That's why for some reason I think that we need to go lower, but it also just looks like this could just be a fake out, like complete fake out. Like, this should happen here. You can see, for example, here we cross below the red line, and then we cross above again, and we kind of range. So we almost have a range where we could make back the losses from the trade. Usually I just take like a 5% stop loss to kind of catch a good move or just get out, especially if I'm not in a confident place. I'm kind of in a confident place being high on the Bollinger Band. You can see we're kind of getting back into Bollinger Band range. Also having these lower time frames all overbought. You can see it's hard, man, because for some reason I don't want to miss out like on, I'm just gonna go do this for a while, just see what happens on the 15 minutes, because you can see on the 1 hourly time frame we're going back towards the center of the Bollinger Band, and I should have just closed it if I was being like pessimistic. The fact is, I'm gonna get wicked now. The fact is, trading like this, it's fair. It's a good trade. Trading like this, trading a stop loss, the move is actually incredibly low. Like, look at this. It's so little. It's such a little move that is gonna take you out of your position, but I was in a place where I think I got a decent buyback. I think I'm at 440 right now. What was the profit? Can we see that? Okay, I got $30. That's fine. I don't want to revenge trade, so I'm just gonna comfortably take that trade. It was, however, it's like a 7% move. If we can hit these trades, I'm aiming for 15%. I know that, but as you can see, right now it's stalling and it's ranging. I had the opportunity of closing at like $40. That would have been better. Now it's doing that. Now it's doing that. But let's see. That's a 5-minute chart I'm looking at. That's the kind of degenerate. Looking at was actually a fucking great entry, to be honest. because I do expect that we could even range down here, in my opinion. We could even range down here for almost a full percent more, and on a 25x, that's a big trade. But as you can see, a 30-minute time frame isn't the largest, but it is rarely that we just cross above and below a Bollinger Band. That is on really uncertain, undecisive times. Usually we have moves where we just range around it, and when we cross, we actually make a move to find that overboughtness, way out of the range, and then correct. This wasn't a crash. It was a strong bullish, in my opinion, bullish move. And as you can see, that accumulation and then a bullish move again. But this time we couldn't sustain like I know it's not a large time frame is happening on, but since we are kind of semi breaking out 3 times here, they always say 3 times and then a counter move. They do. They don't. I do. Because then we have tried to run with the bulls for 3 consecutive times, failed, and then a bigger correction hits. And since these 2 corrections happened, and we... Shit. Fine, I don't want to complain. Let's look at the Bitcoin chart. Sorry, the trading view setup. As you can see here now, the big red flashing indicator happened on the 5-minute. You're going to be really, really quick on that. But as it happened here, maybe I should dual window next time. So also always just have this indicator to kind of suggest a liquidation event happening. Because this big move could happen because other people like me were kind of trying to short on a low time frame. But then the liquidation train just happened and we had a 0.5% move. That is exactly what I want to enter, because that means that I get almost 15% returns. It is very aggressive way of trading. And as you can see now, we are finding a oversold on the very short time frame. This triggered here as well, and the liquidation risk is increasing here. It could look something like this. And that's why sometimes it is hard, because it is going up, gaining momentum, having a quick breakdown. And these different alerts triggering on the liquidation indicator here. First off, it's a liquidation of longs. It's a liquidation of shorts. And then immediately we start dumping and the longs get liquidated. And that kind of has this, is it a sharp move even? Like, no, it's not. It's a semi-sharp move, but it is happening very shortly in a short time frame. So we just accumulate up, go down here, touch support, and we bounce. We go down here again. We don't have any liquidation happening here. That could be because of some kind of indecision. Also, this is just from Binance. This map is Bitcoin on Binance. So that also, if you change Bitcoin here, that's also a very important lesson. If you change for example, Coinbase, you would be able to see down here that the liquidation information and positions, it's looking different. So beware of that when you're trading. That your indicators, your charts, where do you get the information from, which exchange it could have. And the reason I'm using Binance, I think, is because, isn't this also called Binance liquidation? Yeah. So it wouldn't be as applicable on any other. I tried testing Coinbase, BitMEX, Bitunix, I think as well, or MEXC or whatever, to see if there was sometimes, even though it's made for Binance, if it just aligns perfectly with other exchanges, that's fine, use it then. But just found this one. The reason these are yellow is because it's interacting with this one, but I just personally found that I couldn't find any other in chart that was as accurate in its predictions of these liquidation moves. Like it's signaling a more extreme move and backed up by the speed of the market, the stochastic RSI, the relative strength index as it's called. I could maybe just kind of zoom out and then just go higher so you can see more of the chart. And maybe even, yeah, do this. Yeah, we might be able to see more of that indicator here. Let's see, how long have I been streaming for? Can I see that somewhere on my layout? Because, yeah, almost an hour. I think I'm gonna cut it at an hour. I wanna get into one more trade if I can. Let's see if it actually works for Ethereum as well. Or Solana. We can do Solana as well, but as long as we use, yeah, as long as we use Binance, we should be good. Ethereum looks like it is also ranging fairly high. Oh, that's Coinbase. Does it make sense? It's actually triggering very well here. Let's see for Binance if it's basically the same, I think. It looks basically the same. We have a lot of liquidation alerts here, but we also looking at 10-minute time frame, looking like it's gonna crash. 15 is gonna crash. 30 is looking like it could crash. 1 hour looking oversold as well. 2 hours. But the good thing about the 2 hour move is that the longer and the closer we get to an actual close, like it's 1 hour from this point, is that yes, we are rising up, but as you can see here, we can still have a mid-term breakdown. Like this move here, where it closed and the next candle happened, that's still a perfect entry to catch. Because I just need a 0.5% change for me to be kind of satisfied. And since we just had this, fuck man, I just wanted to that entry. That's the middle of the fucking night. But yeah, if we got this move here, 5% increase in Solana, there's still a very high possibility of, at least since we are finding resistance around the Bollinger Band, and whilst Bitcoin is doing its thing, everything is basically following Bitcoin before we get an alt season breakout. Like it is also finding resistance in this area. Keep in mind that this isn't a 5% move for Bitcoin. It is only a like less than half of that. So when you're trading 25x, if you are trading at 25x on Bitcoin and you're changing your chart to Solana, you would basically be trading like 55 or 60x if you count in the volatility. So if you're new to trading, be careful when you're changing coin. Compare its movements to Bitcoin. See if it's much more volatile. Let's just see something a little lesser. Let's take Algorand. If you take Algorand here, and we account for, because it's not following the exact same way, so it's only like just like this, but yeah, it's funny that it's actually it is finding a strong bottom here though. It has been oversold for quite a while. That could be interesting. That could be very interesting, because you're seeing here the triggers on the liquidation chart here also being very oversold. It is still moving. And here we have a liquidation on the other side suggesting this move. And now we don't have a trigger per se on any time frame that is red, that is signaling like a get the fuck in or a get the fuck out movement. What we are seeing though is the range is getting there. So would I dare take an entry on Algorand right now? Certainly is an interesting point, because if we can just get from 1, 2. If we can just range from here, and we don't even have to go to the halfway point here, that's a sick trade. And if we just like, take into account the bottom ranges of almost all the candles since Monday at Saturday even, like this is going to be a resistance point. That's still 2.8%. And if we're going to go down to this, yeah. Next time I think I'm going to be open for suggestions. Suggestions in the way of like what coin should I trade. Funny how XRP is sitting exactly the same way Algorand is. What about Chainlink? Sorry, Link US dollars on. Looking like the same type of setup. But for some reason, Solana is performing better. It also had some great news today. This whole bridging to Coinbase, or Base, what do you want to call it? We could do some silly shit on stream as well. Like, I'm down to do whatever that is funny for you guys. Make some games. We could have some, like, we could have a wheel spinning on the leverage that we have to use. And maybe I count down for like, if it hits 100x leverage, it's gonna be like within 10 minutes, I have to take a trade in this way. Of course, of course I don't want to get into a bad trade just for fun, but that's not gonna be part of the challenge. So I'm not gonna say like, if I get to this point, like $600, I'm not gonna $600 100x long with all of the winnings. It's gonna be another amount. So exactly what, I don't know that shit. But we could do it like that. I know I got wigged out of my position, but it looks like it was a semi-great place. We sold the. We ended the short. We got $30 on it. That was a fine trade, and it looks like we are settling, but it's a weird ass position. Is it? Because if you look at a 4-hourly, let's just completely take this one away. You can see that we are starting to reverse that move here. And the confirmation, you can see it starts happening around here, but it does take some time for the curve to happen, and that is usually where on a 4-hourly, when I swing trade, that is where I wait for a confirmation. And I might even wait a little bit longer to enter a trade, but that's gonna be in a longer time frame. I'm trying to teach myself to trade on the daily again. And the shorter and the lower time frame we get into, we can see. But what happens here is around 16 o'clock today, my time, the reverse happened. 16 o'clock. But if we go down to the 30-minute here, we'll be able to see that. Holy shit. Yeah, 16 o'clock the move happened, but it also completely erased the whole candle before moving again. So if you're just trading like on a 4-hourly and you see that confirmation happening on stochastic RSI, you might be thinking, perfect entry, let's just go. And you have 30xing an entry here. Yeah, when it's bottomed out and started moving here, let's just say you get the middle of the candle, and you think like, full percent isn't enough. On the downside, you're also gonna lose almost a full percent. And if you're trading like on a small time frame, you have no idea how deep it goes. It could go lower and then swing up again, but this move gets a lot of people stressed out, because just like me before, I was shorting a little bit too early and I stop lossed it. I could have just had it open, So if I was like planning on streaming for 3 hours again today, I could just do another trade and have that one open in the background as I was seeing a possible correction coming. But we don't know. We take 15 minutes here. We don't know. And I'm glad I closed it here because yes, it happened, but it's not down to the entry even. So instead I closed it here and I opened another short around here and I got those $30 retrace. So today I'm just $15 down, I think it was. Can we see that here? That's fine. I don't really yeah, it's gonna be like a $20 loss for today unless we get a great entry again. It annoys me that the 2-hourly is so oversold. On the larger time frames, we are so oversold. But on the daily, we are. What about the 6-hourly? Like this, we have like also oversold. But it has been starting to move. I would almost always trust the higher time frames, but you can see on the 8-hourly here, it looks like we're reaching the bottom, but we're not quite there yet. So we still have sell pressure going into the daily. We could realistically have a situation that looks a little bit like this, where we have a move. Oh shit. If we're gonna have kind of a, this is not like this is not some TA type shit. It's just me trying to map it out, like having a move looking a little bit like this, you know, where in this area on the time frames we have the lower time frames and you know the 6 to 12-hour time frame, we have a kind of a sell pressure going, meaning that we could meet resistance at these ranges and then bounce down. But then again, on the longer time frames, we are bullish. You can see that on the daily. So that we are bearish on the daily, but on the weekly, the 3-day, still are increasing. The weekly just started the move happening. And even on the 2-hourly, again here, you can see it looks like we have a lot of sell pressure, and that could change. So that is why I made this. Why the fuck did I get back to 12? Because since it is 12-hourly, I can actually move this up quite comfortably to here. That I would argue that if we're on a time frame where we should be dropping, that would still be heavy resistance down here, so support down here. The meaning that you can see here, the closer we get to it, the more immediate the move would be. So on, yeah, and we still have, because of the time frames that we have sell pressure, the closer we get to that one. But do I think that we're gonna get lower? This is annoying. That's why I hate Danish trading hours, because usually all the fun happens in US hours or kind of in Asia hours in the middle of the freaking night. If we get to the top of this candle, that's gonna be my short position. If we retrace the majority of this candle, I want to short it. And if not, I think I'm just gonna end it and set some alerts. Maybe for the stochastic RSI on the 2-hourly, I would wait for it to kind of hit this median range. If I expect it to hit 50, I'm gonna set the alert already at 40. But set it here to see if the 2-hourly actually gets into that overbought range. And I'm gonna set the 1-hourly on the contrary to hit towards the middle side here. so that on a kind of comfortable level, I can say I will find more confidence on the trades, a more combined outlook if we are going to be. Oh shit! Damn, bro, what the fuck was that? Something just bit me, I think. Stung me or some shit like that. Well, and anyway, what was I even getting at? Yeah, it's starting to look like it wants to move. Because like on the completely short time frame, it looks like if we get to the top of that candle, we will hit a lot of resistance. Maybe I'm actually looking at too high time frames. That might be distorting my view. Because if we look at these 1 minute candles, we could just scalp more aggressively every time we hit. The problem is like it's not. We're just seeking confirmation here. Like every time we cross too aggressively out, we might want to make a move. And we're sitting high. Like we are sitting high. But I'm not gonna open a short to catch a move like this. That's not the point. The point is to get like a 0.5% move on a semi-comfortable swing. So this was a great entry. This was a very great entry. Like we called it so good here. But the fact is, I think I don't fucking know. Can I see like this? I actually bought it. I could just look like that. The average price was 0.9. Yeah. Was it? Oh, let me see here. Yeah, 0.9. So I actually got in around here first and closed it around here. That was the move, and that was great because you can see it started reversing again. Now it's slowly building up. It looks like we are finding a bottom on the 5 minute. I just don't think the entry to me right now is too obvious. Like on the half hourly, we are still sitting only at the top range. So we still have a potential move sending us down here. That would be a perfect trade for me. Exactly what I'm looking for. On the 1 hourly, yeah, we hit that resistance. You can see that we hit that very. But as you can see here, when we are kind of narrowing in the Bollinger Band, when we have a very big expansion and we are narrowing in, what usually happens is we range before a breakout. Have we even had like a very, very short narrow phase? Like even this one is just a slow ascent before we have anything happening that is exciting. Oh, we're starting to see that move that I was waiting for. Like that candle retracing almost fully. Like I wanna so it's gonna be a $430 entry, and I want to short it. Even though I'm bullish, I want to short it because it looks like we're getting a whole lot of oversold even on the 1 minute. So I'm gonna try and just short it right now. And as you can see, oh fuck, and then the move happens, right? We cross above. Oh, I didn't see where we were moving on 3 minutes, but the 5 is also just, I'm just completely catching myself, in too many time frames. Like you can see within the quarter here, the 15 minutes, it looks like we are breaking down. And on the larger time frame, we are breaking down. But then on the 5 minute, we have the bullish move setting up. And on all the other time frames, we have the bullish move setting up. Meaning that right now, we have the wrong kind of play out. So I could have been, what the fuck is that? I could have been getting that sweet entry just around here. And if we get back, that is just going to be much better trade. But again, on the 15 minute, we're still sitting high. And what I want to do from this point, what my objective is right now, is to see if I can hit a trade of 0.5%. A 1% trade would be, beautiful, but around 0.5% would be very comfortable for me to hit. And if we can get back towards the center of the Bollinger Band just within the next 15 minutes or so, you can see even here, like on the 30 minutes, we are very oversold. And if we can just get that move back, you can see there's a very, very sweet range. But again, my problem right now is that we kind of had an expansion narrowing in to a potential breakout. And if that's a bullish breakout, like we're seeing here, 1 hourly getting exhausted, that is just starting to narrow in, we could just range. And I don't hope we range here. I hope we get down to this. You can see where the major liquidity is. If we get back to that area and range, then I have my I have a good possibility of getting that trade that I want. A very good possibility of getting that. On the 2 hourly, as you can see, the move has happened, but I hope this was the resistance that we met. We got that resistance, and then we go back on the 2 hourly. It would be nice if we go back and retest the bottom range. That would be very, very sweet. On the 4 hourly, again, I hope this happens. Yeah. We usually bounce, just like a pinball, bounce between the Bollinger Bands, especially when we have a higher time frame. It is even, it is even more confirmative. You can see top bounce, we bounce, we bounce. It is, of course, sometimes we have a complete sell-off, but again, you can see we are hitting this range and we bounce strongly from it. And often we see that the more aggressive we cross out of the band, think of it like a rubber band. The more you tighten it up, the harder that smack is gonna be. So when you have these extreme crosses, the counter move, it's like the rule of physics that to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. It seems you can find another one here. This is a bad example of October 10th because, of course, that was a complete crash, complete systemic crash. What I don't like, what did I do there? What I don't like about this trade right here is that I have set it and I expect us to close. Oh damn, it's moving so bad, man. It's fucking annoying. I'm expecting us, as I said, to close weekly above 94. It's Thursday now, so we might. And as I said, we had that expansion, so that narrowing phase, that ranging phase here for quite some time. And then we have a move. And that looks like it's going to be to the upside. It pisses me off. It's goddamn annoying. Especially because like my liquidation price is around that weekly close. And to be honest, I just want to let this one live now because it's going to be my last trade. But if we get just at this range, it's not like I can just keep my trade open and then I know I'm going to be back at this point, because I did also say that I expect us to be in this kind of uptrend. Do I have it here? Okay, we have this uptrend, so this is the 15 minutes. That's way too small. We have the top side here. That's again my mistake is I'm using too many different indicators and TA on two charts. I think I'm gonna go purely Bidunix next time. and then only the liquidation Binance liquidation chart here. Because as you can see, we have more upside than we have downside. We have a resistance point right here on the large time frame that we could be breaking down from, just like you saw here. We can have these small moves happening and then, you know, a dump again. And you can see this is quite substantial actually, because if you entered here, even if flow here, we had a wick down a lot. Like, as I said, that's what I said on the hourly. This is just looking like it's gonna meet resistance. Either it's gonna break out, it's gonna meet resistance. TA doesn't work the way that like it's gonna be down, range and up, down, range and up, and up, range and down, whatever. Because as you can see here, the ranging part here just continuated the movement. So, but that's also on the hourly. That is way too big a time frame. That's not nice. Again, I'm at that point right now where I kind of want to close it and I kind of want to let it ride. And as I'm saying that, it is starting to range in the most annoying way, because we're starting to see that top resistance like this has just been such a long, steady increase, man. It's just been so freaking long. It has happened. Steady, slow, and steady upwards, right? So I'm thinking like it has to break. It has to break sometime. But, and as you can see, when we are looking very low time frames, this is a perfect example. This is speed. So even though we are ranging very high and we have been breaking down to the medium range for quite some time, it doesn't mean that the price is going to follow. Like, yeah, it is swinging kind of, as I said, kind of with this movement. And then again, here we have a breakdown and then there's just a sharp move. So it looks like all this movement, even though it's going down, it's slowing down, we're still increasing. So we could still, even though the 5-minute chart, and right now it's looking like it's gonna maybe crack down, but even though we have a bottom out area here, it doesn't mean that, as you can see here, that it is gonna be sustained and keep flying high. It can just mean that we still have some ranging to the top side before we're breaking down. And I do think that's why I entered this trade, that on the 15 here, we just at this range, right? That's what I said. If we can take this candle back, I should have taken this, right? If we can get this resistance level here, that should have been my entry. That would have been perfect. That would kind of have made me sit on a, that's a little less move, right? So a little less move. But again, we shouldn't ever try to time the exact top, but I've just grown accustomed. I have grown accustomed for my DCA strategy that I actually just I've grown accustomed to, if I think this is going to be a resistance point, I'm just going to start DCAing. And if we even hit this point, I would just buy more, increase the position, because I'm expecting this to be a very, very overbought range. So I don't use that high leverage normally, and then I just accumulate and enter my position because I am that confident that with the move will happen. You can see how aggressively we moved out on the 30-minute. like in just 2 hours or so, we just completely pumped 2%. And like from the top here, RSI wise, to that bottom at, we went higher now. But from that top area, we had a fucking annoying, at 1.3%. I'm not saying the exact same thing is gonna happen, but if we have a 1.3% drop, that would send us again to the medium range of the Bollinger Band. And if that happens, even from my entry that isn't that great, it still means that I will get the trade that I need, like even better. But let's see what happens. It's a long time to see that. I might also, you can see, holy shit, you know, you can just see on the 1 hourly, just this is steep. This is an very aggressive, you can see increase here. And what happened last time we were increasing aggressively, we were met with a counter move. But the problem here is we crossed out of that. Even I know we're starting higher, right? Under the Bollinger Band, we just wicked out. But in this area, from this move, we were crossing out of the top Bollinger Band level, getting very oversold, overbought. Damn, I'm starting to get tired. And then we had that sharp counter move. And if this is the next range zone, maybe set up like this, not exactly, but you know, similar to this, we could maybe go like we could even go to 92k and then break down. And I know I'm risking it. It's gonna be a bad session today. If I just close this, or if I don't even take a stop loss, it might be a very bad session. But it's fucking annoying because on the 2 hourly. But is that because it hasn't closed? I really want to see how this closes on the next candle close, because it could tell us. It could narrow in this Bollinger Band. It could tell us a little bit more of what is to be expected. I'm just watching my position just getting pissed away. We could easily have this same setup right here, the exact same setup happening, where we just shoot up to my liquidation price and slowly go back down. It is very, very, very possible. And since I'm compounding sounds sus. Since I'm compounding all of my, position each and every time, what happens is, I'm gonna set this one to charge. 2 seconds. What's happening here is, holy fuck. If I lose this trade, I have lost all of my balance for this trade. This challenge. This was $250 to 100,000. But I have a lot of, tries left, meaning that even though I'm losing this, I'm doing all of this just to learn, just to set it up. And I really, really hope, and that is why I have been shorting a lot, and I'm actually very happy about that, because I usually never short, especially not in a bullish time. But sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to do the opposite, either to gain confirmation on why you're not doing it, or in this case, to see if you can be even more accurate in your trading. Because if you can kind of call the shorts happening, this was a very good entry, especially since it happened on an uptrend. So if we can call these tops forming or setting up, if we don't want to short the market, what I could have done here was I could set up my short and I could just wait for it to retrace and then get a better entry for my long. That may be actually what I need to do next time if I'm still bullish. I'm not saying that we should close above. Let's just go here, it's easier. I'm not saying that we should close, or that I expect us to close above this 94k range this week. But what I'm saying is, since this indecision candle we had last week, since that time, since that candle and these ranges, I expect us to close above or below within the next maybe coming few weeks. Especially since the Christmas time usually is a very, very good time for traders, very bullish month, very bullish period. But yeah, I'm just gonna. I'm really not happy with this entry. I'm really not. But then again, like on the 4 hourly, it looks like we have a very, very bad entry. On most major time frame, it does look. But then again, on the 8 hourly, it looks like we still have some sell-off pressure that could happen. Even though it's not, I mean, this is not good. It's not looking good, bro. But it looks like within this time frame, we could still see a bounce back here before a move coming. And especially when you confirm it on the 1 hourly, on the 30 minute, on the 15 minute, yeah, it curved back up, showing that yes, we still have more bullish momentum. But bro, we're still ranging in this area, in this time frame. What I might do here is set an alert around, as I said before, I expect us to be able to cross up to 92k. So we set an alert here. We add an alert, and then also, because I want to be able to, I can just take a stop. I can just take like a take profit here. I said it. The fuck is happening? I can set a take profit for like this range if we should crush down to here, but I could also around, you know, my entry set another alert. That way I can actually just maybe chill for a little bit and hope for a change of structure to happen, since I still see that the next hour, and that's a long, I'm not just gonna watch this one full fucking hour, but like on within the next hour, I do expect this move to happen. As you can see, it is very aggressive, very steep, very much speed we have had the last few hours. And even on the half hourly, we have had a very jittery move, but ultimately reaching a very overbought area. Also here, as you can see here, last time we had this kind of move. Even though we just had a little bit of selling, it wasn't mad. We ranged a lot. And then we had this whole move. And even though it wasn't a direct response on the chart, it did show that we lost, you know, it was overbought. We lost buy speed, and it resulted in, within this range, let's just take the bottom part of the range, a move down for like a full percent. So I fucking hate this entry. That's another thing I just, you know, I knew it. It's not that I don't know it, but that is another kind of very valuable lesson here, is that when you say that you want to see this top, you know, you want to see this candle getting bought up before you short it, you shouldn't just immediately act upon it. And as I know, I inserted a little bit early here, but you shouldn't just immediately act upon it if you're looking at a little bit of a higher. What the fuck is going on? If you're on kind of a higher time frame, you should wait and see at this point. Are we actually breaking down, or are we actually still gaining momentum? So next time, that's what I'm gonna do. If I find a setup like this, a very aggressive move, and I expect it to short, but I find this stalled, because I did last here on this candle, I did find a short and I closed it. So when I expected to go back up here, I shouldn't have entered here. I should have, even though like it seemed on my entry here that we were getting a kind of resistance, I should have waited for this, either for a complete breakdown to start forming, or I should have waited to at least see where do we go from the last high. That should be a kind of resistance point. Because by doing so and following the RSI on the very short time frame, I might actually have gotten an entry around this point. And I know I want to short the market because, in my opinion, it's just a matter of time before we see a, hopefully, with my position, a little bit more aggressive correction here, back down. But imagine that I got an entry here. I wouldn't even have to go down back to my entry point. I would just have to range here. And as I said before, I like to take these 5%, stop losses. So so I'm just going to, because I have if I have taken a stop loss here, and I was getting wicked out, I could just innovate another entry, because it looks like it still is going to be a semi-good call, this one. Let's see, we don't know yet. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to risk it. Like I told you guys, this was going to be the day that I made mistakes. So I'm going to let this be a very, very either hit or miss setup. So I'm going to go off now and say very thank you for the ones that listened in. I still struggle a little bit with my bots, but I think it's because YouTube has this block on bot setups, so you don't spam, and it needs more interaction on the stream. And I know I'm just starting streaming, just like right this week I just started on YouTube. And in TikTok, it's, especially with my old account before it got hacked, it was so easy. I could just go on and I could quickly gather a few hundred viewers. So it wouldn't be a problem. But on YouTube, when you're completely fresh and live, it can be difficult to kind of gather just 10, 15, 20 guys. So that is why I'm struggling with my bots, because they need more engagement. But I could maybe find a workaround for that. We don't see limitations, we see opportunities. If you have any, even if you see this one after the stream is done, if you have any suggestions for the stream, fire away, man. It could be fun games, challenges for me as a trader, just take a shit coin and have a high leverage and see if I can close a trade within like 5 minutes of profit. Then I can just completely go down to the Seiko scalp and see if I can find it could even be Bitcoin, like with 100x leverage, and see if I can find a strong move. Because this move here with 100x leverage would still be a 20% trade, and especially here, damn, this would have been a beautiful entry if I've just eaten the whole thing instead of just. I think it was actually here I entered last time. Doesn't matter. I still think that based off stochastic RSI on different time frames, I haven't really looked at liquidation levels yet. I can maybe look at the 1 hourly for what the shit is going on here. Why does it look like this? There's something completely wrong with this indicator here. Was it that simple? Was it that simple? Okay, yeah, fine. Sometimes it's just a quick little fix, a little setting that is just completely screwing up the whole view. Because I do see that even on the 1 hourly, we have accumulation on liquidation alerts here. So that could also be a strong indicator that the 1 hourly is setting up as an overbought situation. Liquidation is. Looks like we're actually seeing a lot of liquidation alerts starting to accumulate on the 2 hourly here. actually for the last 6 hours. And since they keep building here. That could be what is driving this good big green candle. Like if I just longed when I went live, it's been a very strong one, but when did I start streaming? Like it's like 1.5 hours ago. When if you look at 30 minutes, and it would say like 1.5 hours. It's gonna be like, what time is it now? 1.5 hours. Yeah. It would have been a kind of a semi-dangerous place for me to long, because yeah, we had confirmation that we were going up, but that is why I didn't long it, because I was starting to see these oversold conditions happening around this time. Yeah. Doesn't matter. We still need this breakdown to happen. 3 hourly. Big candle. Big candle. But you can see here, even though we have this momentum increasing, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have a strong move happening. Especially when you see liquidation volume is very low. You can't even see it on your screen, can you? No, you can see it here, the bottom green part is you can barely see it. It's so low. But what we can see is when we start pushing up and we have an increased liquidation alerts or increased prices here, what we see is the movement, the money, the price action movement is more, first of all, it's more accurate. Second of all, it is more imminent, if you can say it like that. And then we had this big ass, in Tuesday, this big ass alert happening on the 3 hourly, for example. And that just suggests that if you can find a top formation, and the fact that the 3 hour candle closed this high is very nice, because you actually had the possibility of catching that, especially since the upside wasn't that insane. Like, I'm sitting in a worse trade right now, so if the upside could just be written out, you could have catch like a very strong move. But right now we see this here, this candle. It isn't a red trigger, but it has a lot of, volume here, meaning that after this happened, we might have accumulated some shorts that just get wrecked, but then again, we have to sell off. The manipulation we can't foresee. What the fuck is the word? We can't predict the. What was that? Okay, we cannot predict the manipulation that could happen on swings on this time frame or whatever time frame, but we can watch for the volume and the liquidation. You can see here it's not really up to a point where I would call it a strong entry signal, but on the 4 hourly we can see the last 8 hours, and this is these candles. We have been building this liquidation trigger or alert that could suggest that a shift is coming, because last time we saw this kind of range here, we had a shift coming. So that means that we went down and a bounce top down. Now we have a downwards movement and a liquidation shift to a top bounce, and then maybe a breakdown. I just really hope that, honestly, we could get back to this range, because I want the price to rise. I'm bullish mid long term, but it would be perfect if we could get a support bounce. We could even be below it, honestly, but it doesn't look like it. If you look at the 4 hourly, it doesn't look like that's realistic. But if we look at the 2 hourly, it's a very aggressive move. When did we last have this kind of aggressive move? The dangerous part here is that when we had this last time, it was actually almost the same range. We had a lot of, liquidation alerts accumulating on the longs that just drove the price up. And then we had the trigger here saying like it's going to reverse now. We have the same situation happening, even though the difference here is it isn't as immediate. Like this was just 4 hours this happened on. But if you look like from this range here, it has been very volatile, not as, I know this place is no fucking volume at all. Just like with this here. And we see we're trending down. Have a whole lot of this ranging happening, and then the liquidation starts happening, and we have a breakdown. It's not as aggressive, but we have a breakdown. I hope that is what we're seeing right now. We have this whole range happening, and we have a move up, like we have here, right? You can see we already have this move, and you can see in the stochastic RSI and this range that is as aggressive as here. It looks like it's gonna be like a very aggressive move and then a breakdown here. But the problem is if we don't get below our entry, I think I entered this range, so it doesn't matter if it goes up here and goes down here. It's still gonna be a good trade. Oh, I'm so confused because the smart thing is always if you're too uncertain, it is almost always a good idea to just walk away. Sometimes it's better not to trade than it is to trade. And honestly, I'm just streaming my whole experience here, getting back to trading. So that I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes because I never really trade on this slower time frame. I'm much more comfortable predicting the market on a weekly basis. For example, this week, let's just look at it. If we take this week here, if we take this week, holy shit! Of course, the volume is going to be much greater on a weekly basis. That's obvious. If we take this week and we take this whole setup, I would say that we have been oversold for so long. And on M2 as well, we see it. We see it that the change has set in. If we just quickly just remove these. I actually never explained why I am taking out the US EU and the Chinese M2, but I will of course say now. The reason I'm taking those out of the consideration is because they are very large economies that M2-wise, global M2-wise, contribute a lot to this indicator. But in reality, the amount of liquidity actually entering high-risk assets like crypto isn't necessarily as high as their total M2 combined. So potentially, they are going to affect crypto less with their big amount of M2. This is just my theory. So if you see countries like Japan, where people are basically borrowing yen, cheap as shit because they have very low rates, to buy stocks, SPX, and ultimately also enter that shit into crypto, the Japanese M2 is going to be much more applicable for crypto. And India is also a market known for being high risk. They have a high risk appetite. And the UK, if I'm not mistaken, have a lot of ETFs and a lot of hedge funds. And a lot of these funds, hedge funds and ETFs for crypto, this cycle has been very, it has been very institutionally led, especially in 2024 when we got the Bitcoin ETFs that really changed crypto and how liquidity entered and how fast it entered crypto. So because UK, Japan, India is more high risk futures markets and Bitcoin, centered, it's a smaller economy and a higher percentage of it might go to crypto. That is why I'm excluding these other countries, because we are in a very uncertain time right now where the common retailer maybe isn't as easily manipulated into buying crypto, because why would they? Ask yourself that question. Why would someone buy crypto right now? Do you want to buy this? If you're new into investing, would you want to buy this range? Like this this doesn't look this doesn't look nice. But since you're a trader, and since you have known crypto for quite a while, if you have, you would actually. But that's because you're seasoned. That's because you see behind the manipulation and the news and whatever agenda they want to push on you. Because if you look back at this range, that is what I said this March. I said we buy red and we sell green. That is what we do. That is all there is to investing. You buy red, you sell green. That is the only thing that you need to actually know. And depending on your, if you're just buying spot, that is the easiest because you can just DCA if you're bullish. If you actually think that crypto is changing the future, everything is coming on chain, Web3 is completely taking over, etc. If you believe that, just DCA and wait. Like DCA, 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 DCA. And even if you're just ranging here, I DCA and DCA and DCA because I accumulate a whole lot of, of spot here and even all the way down. I haven't bought anything around this range, right? Because we were sitting so high. So if I missed my selling opportunity here, I would just wait to better entries. Like, for example, let's say you have a vacation going on and you don't want to be that guy on the chart 24/7. And in this week here, you're on vacation and you miss the top and it just starts crashing. And you don't want to sell because you don't want to sell it going down. I'm not going to say what you should do, but what you could do, an opportunity is always, if you miss an exit and you don't want to sell because you might think, especially if you use the old M2 liquidity here indicator, and you were thinking like, yeah, it's just a dip, it's gonna recover. So you don't want to sell, but you don't also want to buy more because you still have a great entry and you're still like, oof, you could just wait because DCA load the shit up here. And let's just say we go back to this entry. If you have been DCAing for all of these weeks and all of the way up, your dollar cost average, your average cost of whatever spot you bought, hopefully, if you bought into non-degenerate coins, you could, even though we don't hit an all-time high, have a substantial profit in this area. Because let's be honest, most of us were DCAing a lot here. So the problem wasn't that we bought here and we held and we didn't sell anything, hopefully. The problem was that we DCA'd all this way down and some people got delusional. Like either because they missed this top and we started crashing and fuck it, we're DCAing again. And they just kept being manipulated by whatever headline was next, like, for example, the fear we had was what here, was it around here? We had was it here? I think it was here in September. Oh shit, that was my alert. Damn, bro, I thought my take profit was hit, but I saw it was at the entry. So I was like, that's not fun. It's not fun getting your setting your take profit just at your entry level. That would be so freaking annoying. But as you saw, the exact move we were waiting for is happening. But to be honest, if I had waited a little bit more, I would be sitting at like almost a full percent of profits would have been like 25. That would have been a trade. But let's see here. We just started the breakdown on the 15-minute. On the 30-minute, also just started that move. On the 1 hourly, we haven't even kind of closed yet, but we will close in 1 minute. So this, it was just been so delicious, This move, ooh, but let's not get caught up in what we didn't do. Let's try to see if we can actually unfuck ourselves, because it looks like right now, it's annoying, so annoying. Like that's the worst part about getting a bad entry is you often actually get a new kind of range I often do, as at least. I find a place where it will range eventually. So right now, it is finding that what I thought last time would be a kind of resistance area. Since, let's see if we can take a 30-minute here. If I entered here, I thought for sure that this was going to be a resistance area because we just bounced up and touched the top of the Bollinger Band here, while also kind of having this, as you can see here, what shit was happening? This increasing trend. If you see here, we're bouncing here, finding this area. That is the dangerous part, because you might range there for just a little while and you kind of get that, oh shit, I'm gonna close it, because you start doubting yourself. Getting back to this, what I was talking about before, DCAing strategy, etc. Don't actually know where I came from because of that alert. It was fucking annoying. Well, honestly, what we're seeing right now is either the confirmation that what I was expecting to happen is happening, or it is the exact opposite, that we got a fake out. And that we on the very low time frame did get the move. We got it too late. So as you can see right now in the 1 minute, we're already starting to move up again. This could be, as you can see here, this little movement was quite aggressive. We could have a ranging here to get back up to the middle and then further crash, because as you can see, the Bollinger Band is opening up, meaning that the volatility is opening up. It's already, I could have closed this at $10 profit, and coming from that loss, that would have been nice actually, but yeah, let's see. What was I gonna say? Yeah, as you can see here, on the very low time frames, it looks like we got the move we were asking for. We got it a little bit too late. We got a little bit too early into our entry. And stochastic RSI wise, looking at the medium low time frames like 15 and 30 minutes here and the 1 hourly, either what we're going to do is we're going to have a ranging. We could easily have that here. The 30 minute could just go back up and start ranging. The 1 hourly could just, go back up and start ranging. But it is on the oversold level. And the 2 hourly, it's just completely freaking sending like mad. So I kind of do some research. I think I'm just gonna do 1 full hour of just researching and backtracking how stochastic RSI have moved the last month on these time frames, in contrast to these, kind of finding those points where it mismatches, and seeing if I can find any kind of sense to all this madness. Because if I can find that from the last month, might be a little bit aggressive, just 3 weeks or 2 weeks, because if I can find a pattern, that has played out, I can maybe actually start predicting these movements even better. Even on the daily, see, we have been ranging high here the last couple of days. And that makes sense because even though we had this breakdown here, from this area, we have been trending upwards. Yes, we had a shit short. We had a shit correction here, but we're still trading upwards. Then immediately the next day here, that is from that indecision candle. And then we hit resistance and moved down, still trending upwards, as you can see here, because we still have a very overbought area. So even though we might on the daily, that's what you need to know about a daily stochastic RSI, because even though it is ranging low, when it's up in this range, it might on the daily average move upwards. Even on the 4 hourly here, you can see here, let's see if we can find a great example of that. Because yeah, here, perfect. We have momentum on the 4 hourly, but within that 4 hours of that one candle, you can still have, you can range in this range, up and down several times before closing on the 4 hourly. So for example here, before the next 4 hourly close, so you have 4 full hours left here, we can still have a full ranging, and it could be this whole candle of ranging. I'm not saying it's gonna be like that, but it could be. It could also range all the way up here and then go back down again. 2 hourly, we see again, it's starting to get into the overbought zone, meaning that we were correct to assume, I think, time will tell, but I think I'm correct to assume that within these 4 hours, we had that movement that we might either stall out here, and because we're sitting high within this range, as you can see here, for this whole day actually, we're sitting high, bouncing in this area, and on the other side, on the downside, we have much more downside if we just take this full day of trading. So if we can hit this resistance and move down just within the next 4 hours, that's why I don't want to stream anymore, because I'm going to sit here 4 hours, 2 hours even. The move is happening, and like here for example, we have that strong move, and it could just, from this here candle, it can change very fast. It could just have a medium here, and could find resistance on the Bollinger Band to try and, it would make sense in my opinion, it would make sense that we cross out and we kind of rebounds before we make that next move. It's funny how on the 2 hour it just kisses the top side so closely, like it's just like it's sliming on it. You can see we had it here, right? It looks like this, it looks the same, but of course it's not exactly the same since we're moving up here to the middle. But here the middle came down to us, and this time we moved up to it, but it still retested the lower range of the Bollinger Band. So unless, if we want to see the same kind of thing happening, where we kind of actually break down below, if that same setup happens where we break out of the bottom range, retest it, and then have a strong move, what should happen here is that we should sometimes within the next 2 hours have a move down, and maybe by closing like the 1 hourly here, bring that Bollinger Band into a narrow place. You can see here the 1 hour is actually moving up, so that's great. Bounce, hit the top, hopefully get rejected. Hopefully we get rejected here and move down here. That's what I want. It looks like it's not what I'm gonna get, right? But that's what I want. Overbought as shit. Overbought as shit. And we actually had like this last half hour, it looks like we're getting confirmation of a structure change. The 15 minutes, we are getting in some indecision movement here. It wants to go down. We want some sell pressure. I say a lot of bullshit in this stream, but it looks like we are having more sell pressure accumulating. But in that time, we also have the bulls trying to take over. So we still have buy pressure, but we're losing momentum. It could be the exhaustion happening of a very bullish day, actually, looking like since this morning we have just been fighting to get up, and we finally got this move. And if you're a day trader, if you're an investor, if you get these entries for like a 2% move on Bitcoin, you would be satisfied, especially if this happens. Let me show you here. It could also be a move for a lot of investors that entered in these ranges. Like in November, they got these low ranges, and they keep getting pumps and dumps and pumps and dumps, and they are not really getting anywhere. So a lot of people might be capitulating at these levels as well, seeing like nothing is really happening, and you're ultimately still up in trades like this. You're gonna be up for like 12%. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it now. We made 3 trades. We had 1 bad, we had 1 good trade, and then we have this one running. And I will update you guys on my bio on YouTube. I have a link tree, and I will update you guys in my community tab on Telegram, on Discord, on Twitter, or on Instagram and TikTok. Let's see. Let's hope I don't get so embarrassed from a complete complete miss that I don't want to post it. Just kidding, man. Of course I'm gonna post. I don't give a shit. But did we actually? Is it just because I'm like zoomed in like a motherfucker? Yeah, fuck it. It was a nice trading session. I learned a lot today, and I also got some homework. Like, I know now that I need to test this stochastic RSI combination on these time frames, like especially the 2 hourly, the 4 hourly, and the 1 hourly, and the daily. Like, have that mismatch and look the last 2-3 weeks. I might have enough content there for a video if I find something exciting. Of course, I'm going to share it with you. Thank you for watching it again, if you watched, and if you're watching after live stream, thank you again for watching. I have no doubt in my mind that once I get my streaming setup built a little bit more nicely, and once we start getting, momentum here and building the community for this stream, that we're gonna have a lot of fun. Also, I'm gonna keep providing you guys with these BitUnix competitions or campaigns or whatever once this one is done. We still have, I can find it still, man, because we still have BitUnix. It says Score Space. That's my old TikTok account that just got fucking hacked. So annoying. I think I'm gonna change this to Score Crypto. Like, Score Crypto is my name right now, or just Score. We still have 23 days left, and as you can see, the ranking is there's only 2 actual avid users right now, so you can snatch and you can snatch a pretty neat opportunity of getting in and just either completely wrecking these guys, or you can just get in and try for yourself. To get that. Oh, right. Why? What the fuck? Why can't I see these messages? Like, I see right now that Y blocks is. You have a question, bro. That's so fucking annoying. I'm not getting that message request. Like, I can't even see that you're texting me, and I need that. That's what I need to fix about my live chat. Because I wanna answer all these questions, but for some reason I can't see when you ask this, and I bet it's a long time ago. So Y vlogs 3996. If you have a question and you're here right now, just fire away, man. And if you don't, and if you see this afterwards or whatever, just hit me up on my DMs in Telegram. It's also in the bio. Damn, that's so fucking annoying. Like, I don't get these notifications, and I set it up. I just set it up today that I was gonna get it, but it's fine. We'll see. This has been an awful ranging, like completely awful. This area here, because it just tells me that it wants to break down, but it, of course, as you can see here, it doesn't mean that it's gonna be aggressive, but it just looked like it was gonna be. It really does. It really did look like, because last time we had a breakdown of this scale, looking like at the 1 hourly here, especially because this was such an aggressive move. This last breakdown in this area was quite substantial, and I know it kind of wicked up here again, and that's just balls, but it was like a 5% move. And here again, Last time we wicked down here, it wasn't even in full capitulation, but it was just like a short-term momentum change. It was still a 2.75 like percent move. So if we argue that this is going to be the top area and we take it a little bit out of the Bollinger Band even, and it completely crashes even just like a full percent, it's going to take me down to my take profit area. And even not even 2% crash from a higher high than I expect us to have would still have me down on like a very, very nice trade. I'm going to let it ride. I'm going to close now. I'm going to let it ride. And I'll update you guys because this keeps increasing and we don't really move here. As you can see, this last candle here is not the biggest. It's not the biggest. I hope that what I see on the chart right now is gonna be what is happening on the chart right now. Like I hope this setup is either just gonna stall a little bit or we're gonna have a range because of the lower time frame stochastic RSI over exhaustion here, that we are gonna see this going more aggressive down, just like we saw. And I know this is also the top range and that nothing is freaking happening. But if we look at the 1 hourly, the last time we were in this range, it was 9th of December at around 7 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So if we go back here, and we have to kind of use that exact formation as an indicator, 9th of December at around 17 o'clock right here, you see the same formation happening. That's slow, steady decline. This exact same setup that led to a bleed out here. And as you can see, because it's such a low time frame, it's gonna range more volatile, but overall it just kept descending, eventually having this very strong move, which would be very freaking annoying if I were to follow this trade for some while, hoping for an entry, and it actually started breaking down, and I just saw it go back down to the top as well. But let's see. Thank you guys for watching in. If you have any questions, even though you're watching this after the live, just hit me up, man. I can just write it down here, like, if you have any questions and you're on Telegram, I need to write Telegram because you are not. Telegram DM at real score. I'll just post my links, man. I don't even want to just write it. It's just so freaking. Yeah, I'm actually making a game here, developing a game also. As you can see here from the setup, like it's every 15 minutes, but it's 5 lines. It's just set up kind of ineffectively in a way that means we need much more activity in the chat. And I knew I wasn't going to get that this early, but okay, that's too long a. I think I have too much information here on my message. Can I just go anywhere? So I'm gonna make it like this. Can I do that? YouTube, Twitter, X, and then I'm gonna have the other ones and the next message. So it's gonna be something like that. Oh. Okay, the Twitter link works even though it looks weird. That's fine. So I'm gonna have a problem with the Bitfinex trading link. I'm just gonna call it the VIP link and see if I can have it all else. You can't write that much, you know, on that could actually also be a problem with YouTube. Now that I see that my messages are a little bit too long, It might be that was blocking me from sending that link. The VIP is kind of obvious. Yeah. But you know what? We live and we learn. And I was actually talking about fear and greed. I'm just going to end on this note. Like, if you look at the fear and greed level here, this dip, this freaking dip is historical. Look, since 23, we have not been in this range. We have never been at almost zero. Like, even here, this year around March and April, where people were, if you remember this, people were shitting themselves, fearful like I haven't seen before. And we still had this, it was a double bottom, right? But this V formation in the fear sentiment. And what came here was kind of, if we take this into consideration, from the bottom, the middle of March to like April and into May, it took 2 months for Bitcoin to really regain its price and its sentiment. 2 months. And from this range here, it's like the end of November. That would suggest that sometime within, before the end of January, we could see a new rally coming. And the move is already happening sentiment-wise, and we also see that in the price. So that was when I was talking about DCAing. I'm buying fear. I'm not only buying red prices, but I'm buying fear. Because when the majority of the market is shitting themselves, selling at incredible losses, that is when I accumulate. Because especially for Bitcoin and Solana, Algorand, Ethereum, top coins that have kind of a leading position in their field. Like we all know that Ethereum is like the layer 1 king. Solana has a whole lot of activity. It's fast as fuck, boy. And Algorand has a very strong position when it comes to quantum resistance. Like it's the leader of quantum resistance. And I know it's going to take a while before quantum computers has any kind of threat to crypto. But if that day comes, I would like to have invested in a project, a coin, or whatever you want to call it, that has built, developed, and worked towards securing themselves from that possible attack. It's just like having it's just like having two companies, both medicinal companies. One is in one country and the other, fuck that shit. It's just two different countries, right? And the one company, they do the same thing. The one company in a world where tension are rising and people are talking about a war might break out. Do you want to invest in a country that has an army or that hasn't? Like the one that's like, nah, we're gonna have peace forever. They're gonna get run over. Like it's gonna be so easy to take over that country. I know this is a weird analogy. I just ran with the thought. And like the other country that has been preparing a lot, saying, yeah, we might not focus on what's most important right now, 100%, but we are doing a lot to grow because Algorand is still doing a whole lot to grow. And if you follow them on I don't know, Twitter, just following the news or whatever, you still will see a lot of very good announcements happening, so you can kind of track their progress. But behind the scenes, or this is where when you're not a native English speaker, you sometimes just fucking lose the thread, man. I'm just gonna use Google Translate, man. It's just so embarrassing. Concurrently with their other developments, they also have this whole hard developer team working on resisting quantum resistance, and they're actually the only one that had a what do you call it, a transfer, a transaction or a signature on chain that has been approved by, what the fuck is it called, man? The NIST, yeah, the NIST approved to secure digital assets against future quantum computer, demonstrating a practical quantum security on live network. And the NIST is some kind of the US authority or agency. What the fuck is NIST? Crypto US. What is it called? Nine. What the shit? Non-regulatory federal agency with the Commerce Department. Its mission is to promote measurement, science, standards, and technology to enhance productivity, facilitate trade, and improve the quality of life. Okay, so that's kind of a big deal. Yeah, I keep getting sidelined by my own train of thoughts, but I think, come on, just break down. Just have a complete mental breakdown, like get left at the altar, you know. I hope this breaks down more than I did on my vacation when I had that, that fish at the buffet. Everyone is talking about this, man. Don't eat the fish at the buffet. Don't eat the fish at the buffet. But I love fish, and that shit looked delicious, man. And it was, but it came out as fast as it came in. I'll tell you that. Well, see you later, guys. Have fun. If you decide to trade, if you're new to trading, if you decide to trade, build a strategy, research, make a strategy, follow that strategy, and you might fail. But it's the same in life, growing businesses. I'm developing a game right now, and a whole kind of a transaction. New way of making transaction in crypto. I'm developing that by myself right now, and you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna lose. You're gonna fail, but the faster you fail, the faster you learn. So let that stick with you for a moment. Gotta time this shit, bitch. Peace. Fuck.